Hey listeners, my name is Daje. Remember how in the last season of Miseducation, we talked about New York City's transfer schools, with a special focus on the James Baldwin School? Well, guess what? That's my school. I just finished up my first year there, remotely. In March, when I heard the school was going to be online for the rest of the semester, I felt it would be okay since I didn't know anyone from my new school anyways. But after the first week or two, I started to fall behind because reaching out to these people I didn't know and asking for help was really hard. But despite the massive change, the Miseducation team kept working. In the middle of all the craziness, we've been putting together our stories on what this pandemic has been like for us and our families. That's right, we're back with a brand new mini-series, Students in the Pandemic. We'll tell you about the highs and the lows, the challenges we faced, and the lessons we've learned. Here to kick us off is Isabel Gonzalez, a rising sophomore from Brooklyn. It's an important story that hits close to home, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Guess what?
Boop.
What?
Boop.
Guess what?
Oh, what?
I love you.
Boop. Love you too.
I love my sister, don't get me wrong. It's just, sometimes she can be a bit of a pain. I guess that's normal when you have an older sister, but for us, it's different. My sister's name is Luisa. She's a 19-year-old senior in high school, and she has learning disabilities. It's hard for her to understand things easily, and as a result of her frustration, she can get pretty mad.
It literally starts in my chest where I feel, very angrily frustrated at myself that I can't do it and I can't, fix it. And it makes me, want to act out because I have that anger in me on myself. And sometimes, I take it out on other people, which is not my fault, but it is my fault.
For example, the other day, she was trying to make 2 servings of mac and cheese, and she had to double the recipe. She wasn't sure how much water to put in the pot, and I tried to explain to her that she had to put double the amount of water so the pasta could cook properly. So the water's boiling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you have the pasta?
Yeah. Can I put it in?
Yeah, you can put it in. Be careful though. Make sure it doesn't...
Move your phone, because it's gonna...
Make sure it doesn't, splash. Luisa still didn't understand that she needed 8 cups of water instead of 4, and so she got mad and started yelling at me. Of course, my first instinct was to yell back, but ethically speaking, is it right for me to get mad at her for yelling at me, even though she had a perfectly valid reason to be upset? These are the types of daily encounters that make me wonder, what would it be like to be her, to live with learning disabilities? In New York City, roughly 200,000 students enrolled in public school have been diagnosed with learning disabilities. According to the National Center for Learning Disabilities, 1/3 of educators claimed that they've heard parents of learning disabled students referring to their children as lazy for not doing their work. And that's their parents. You can imagine how misunderstood these disabilities are among the general public. They are typically caused by something that affects the development of the brain. The most common learning disabilities are dyslexia, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, and various types of processing deficits.
I have auditory processing disorder, so that means if we're having a conversation, I might not hear what you said. I might ask you to repeat it 3 times. I do have ADHD and ADD, so very hyper.
Because of this, she had a really hard time in school, especially in elementary school.
It was not good because nobody understood why I was like this. Nobody knew why I was taking so long for a test. I don't think they had an IEP.
IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan.
An IEP is basically something that helps you in school. So it's a piece of paper that shows you what you need. So for Regencies, I have a scribe. I have a person who writes stuff for me. I can use a laptop in school. I can bring the laptop home. I get my notes printed out.
Obtaining an IEP is the first step to getting academic support in the public school system. When Luisa was in nursery school, my parents realized she was falling behind.
I stayed in the classroom most of the time. And then when she went up through the 3s and 4s, it was really hard. I knew something was wrong.
This is my mom, Jackie. She used to be a dance teacher, and so she worked closely with children Luisa's age.
I could hear the other children singing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, too. Luisa couldn't get it. She couldn't get the song. She couldn't get the words. She didn't know her colors. She couldn't count.
Even when I was a kid, sometimes I'd make jokes or say something that Luisa just wouldn't understand. I always thought it was strange that my sister, who is 4 years older than me, didn't understand some of the things I'd say.
I had a harder time because, like, it was just, like, stuff where, like, I couldn't stay in school, like, as everyone else. Like, I couldn't stay, like, the full day. So, like, Mom would have to, like, come pick me up early. When we did stuff in class, I noticed, like, it would be harder to follow directions or, like, harder to, like, understand something. Like, people in the rest of the class knew how to.
When Luisa attended my neighborhood elementary school, my sister was really struggling, and my mom wasn't getting support from the staff. She had to hire an attorney to try and get Luisa the proper educational help. Finally, after a lot of paperwork, applications, and 11 trips to court, Luisa finally got an IEP from the Department of Education. It took almost a year to straighten everything out, and even after the legal papers were submitted to the DOE, it took a while for her to get the support she needed.
We went to the interview, and it was with the director of admissions and then the principal and the counselor.
That's my mom again, talking about the interview for Luisa to enroll in Lowell Middle School, a specialized day school for students with learning disabilities that is funded by New York State.
I said to them, I will, if it would help, I'll get on my knees and beg you, but I don't want to stoop to that, and I'm not going to. If you take her, fine. If you don't take her, it'll have to be fine too, but she really needs the help.
Day schools, like Lowell, are meant to aid students who have trouble learning due to their disabilities. The teachers are trained to administer a special education curriculum. Luisa had a much better experience at Lowell. Her grades have improved so much over the course of her years at school, and overall, she's definitely grown as a student and as a person. After years of challenges, she finally made it to second semester senior year, almost ready to graduate, when suddenly, everything changed.
Coronavirus. The first case of the deadly coronavirus making its way to the U.S.
On March 15th, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that New York City would be shutting down. Schools, stores, restaurants, everything had to be closed.
I remember that night, my mom came in and was like, school's closed. And, like, for me, I thought it was going to be closed for, like, a week and we were going to get back to normal.
Now, here we are, 3 months later. It's been hard staying in a 4-room apartment with my family all day. I haven't seen any of my friends during quarantine. All I do is stay in my room and do my work, while my mom has online meetings and my sister has classes all day.
We use Meet and we use Google Classroom. All of my assignments are done online through, like, Google Classroom. We don't get homework. We just get classwork. Whatever classwork we don't finish is homework.
I'm concerned for my sister because she, alongside other learning disabled students, already face challenges in physical school. And now that we're in quarantine, they don't have the same resources and special learning services anymore.
I don't get a scribe, and I don't get like a one-on-one like conversation with my counselor. So, like, at school we get like a room, and then it's like you kind of have a door and walls. But, like, if you're home, like, it's harder because, like, your parents can come in. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my book or something like that. Like, it's like not as private as it was at school.
Aside from the fact that some students don't have the same learning services anymore, school in general is just so different, especially for Luisa.
That's harder because we're not in school, so, like, I can go up to the teacher and show her. Like, we're in class, because, like, do you need any help? They have extra. Fridays are called extra help day or extra something day. So they take the time to help you with work that you're missing, so your grades are good.
Before school let out, the staff at Lowell were preparing online and virtually interactive lessons.
We actually were up and running March 16th.
That's Miss Vizetal, the curriculum coordinator and reading teacher at Lowell.
The first few days of planning, I had such trepidation and kept thinking in my head, how is this going to work? How is this going to work? Are the kids going to know to log on? Are the kids going to be able to move from period to period virtually? And they blew me away.
but it hasn't been easy.
I don't think you could ever replace that one-to-one in-person connection, because I think there's something very powerful in, sitting across from someone. You can't, squeeze a student's hand if they're struggling with something to sort of, make them feel confident or okay. You can't, do some of the physical connecting.
Some students with learning disabilities don't have IEPs, and they don't have teachers who are trained to help meet their specific learning needs virtually. It makes me appreciate how lucky Luisa is to have such a strong support system at school. But still, being stuck inside all day isn't very fun.
I like being inside, but at the same time, I don't. It can be very frustrating. I'm usually on my phone watching, YouTube videos if I'm inside, or watching a movie or doing homework.
One thing that's good about quarantine is that whether I'm making cookie dough with my sister or taking an afternoon trip to Brooklyn Bridge Park for lunch, I get to be with her much more often. God, you're gonna get diabetes.
Probably.
Kirkman, you're gonna die of beaties. As a family, I'd say our overall relationship has strengthened as we try to take the time to be together and enjoy one another's company.
I really relish, and savor the times when we have girls' night.
That's my mom again.
And we've had many girls' nights. We usually only have girls' night on Friday. But I love to put the little Christmas tree lights on and darken the room and put my feet up finally in the, it just feels like an intimate setting, when the room is dark and the little lights are on and there's a juicy movie that I feel like we can laugh at and, share together. I really love those moments.
When I was in school, I'd hang out with my friends every single weekend, and usually I'd almost never see Luisa, even though we live a thin wall apart.
I'm going to miss going on walks with you, baking with you, watching movies with you. And just basically overall doing stuff together, because number one, we don't usually do that outside of quarantine, before it happened, and because it's fun to be with you.
Oh, and in case you're wondering,
on that note, will the graduates please turn your tassel from right to left?
Luisa officially graduated high school on June 25th.
And you are now officially the graduating class of the 2020, and everybody.
Oh God, Mom. Okay.
Once again, that was Isabel Gonzalez. Isabel wrote and reported the episode with editing and production support from Mira Gordon, Jide Sivora, and Taylor McGraw. Miseducation is a program of the Bell in partnership with the Hechinger Report. Support comes from the Pinkerton Foundation, the Summerfield Foundation, and FJC. Make sure you subscribe to Miseducation on your podcast app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MiseducationPod. My name is Dajae Gittins, and I'll be bringing you my story later this season on Miseducation. Until then, stay safe, mask up.